How's it going? Welcome back. It's been a while. How have you been? I've missed you. I hope you've missed me too. I'm excited to be back on YouTube, creating content consistently, adding massive value to you, the listeners, the watchers, whoever's tuned in right now with me. I'm currently in Vancouver. I'm sitting in my studio. There's a beautiful view of the mountains and downtown, and I feel really good to be back. The video today is about wedding photography tips, and I'm really excited to share about 8 gems that have really helped me over the course of my wedding photography career. I've been a wedding photographer for over 12 years, which is really hard to believe. I started in 2009, actually, just assisting other photographers, and I built my way up. I've learned so many things. 2011, I went full time. 2013-ish, I moved to Vancouver, BC, and I've been a wedding photographer here ever since. It's important that as creatives, as photographers, we keep raising the bar for ourselves and we keep growing and evolving. So if you're down with that, today's video is all about 8 wedding photography tips that are going to help you throughout this summer and into the future. Let's get into it. I really want to remind you about the importance of shooting for yourself. Are you creating things outside of wedding photography that inspire you? I love street photography, and over the years, I've been to Japan, Cuba, Burma, India, Germany, France, Italy, so many countries to do personal work. I document the streets. There's me and members of the H Street. I'm in a street photography collective. It flexes those creative muscles, gets those juices flowing, and then when my wedding season starts, I can bring some of that into it. So I love street photographers like Alex Webb, Vivian Maya. There's so many out there. It's really hard, and I've definitely gone through summers where I've done no personal work because the pressure of shooting on weekends and getting fresh and regenerating for that is so high. But it's no excuse, because these are the things that are going to keep your wedding photography business and your energy, quite frankly, high when you're shooting weddings, because it's not easy shooting every single week. So you want to flex those creative muscles and really shoot for yourself too. My second tip for you, before you document a day, how prepared are you for that day on a scale of 1 to 10? One of the biggest game changers for me is getting the timeline and then visualizing the day. I literally close down my eyes. I look through the timeline, I close down my eyes, and then I work through it bit by bit, seeing and feeling how it is to be there on the day, getting the sort of images that I want to get. And I imagine it going in the most perfect way possible. And this is great because on the actual day, when I am there and I'm in the bride's room or I'm in the groom's room and something goes a bit wrong, it's okay because I've felt what it is like to go right, and I can course correct and bring myself back into alignment. That doesn't always happen. Sometimes it does go a bit pear-shaped, but that's okay, because once you've left the getting ready location and you're going to the first look, you can compartmentalize that part of the morning and then just focus on the first look. It also helps me think about shots that I want to have ready, or maybe there's an idea that I want to introduce on the wedding day, or a photo that I really want to make happen with the couple. I remember those areas because I've already visualized them. So I hope that makes sense. Try visualizing just even a segment of the day and see how you feel. If it works for you, definitely take it and use it, because for me, it's been a game changer. Another tip to prepare for your weddings is definitely, if you're visualizing, you must have the timeline and you probably have the family or the group list. So go through the timeline thoroughly, go through the family list thoroughly, and make sure that it's in the sequence that makes sense for you on the wedding day. So often I've got a family shot list and it's all over the place. If you're shooting kids and elderly family and friends first, that really makes everyone feel comfortable. Kids might be a bit restless. They can go to the side. You know, the wedding last week, grandparents were a bit older. They couldn't really stand for too long. They were sitting down, but it was 30 degrees or hotter and there was no wind. So they could really feel it. Let's keep our guests comfortable. And that wins you a few, bonus points with the couple, because and the family, they notice that you care about them and their family, and order it and sequence it in a way that makes sense for you. One of the things that I love to do is always start big. And that might be intimidating for some newer photographers, but I prefer to have a big family shot first, and then I'm trimming people away, because everyone's there and anyone who's not needed can simply sit down or go get a cocktail, have a drink, get merry and enjoy the cocktail hour and whatever else is happening that day. They're not needed anymore and they're not standing around waiting. Timeline. This is a secret tip that I've seen wedding planners be impressed that I have this with me. The timeline condensed, and I save it as a note on my phone. I take a little screenshot. I add that as my wallpaper on my iPhone. And then anytime I need to just quickly reference the day, I just look at my phone. It takes 2 seconds. I'm not opening it up. And these are the things that keep you quick, fast, so that you can pay attention to what's in front of you. Because if you're anything like me, you're a documentary, creative type of photographer, and you don't want to be staring at your phone thinking about what's happening next. You want to see what's in front of you, watching natural moments unfold, and you want to be there to shoot them. Okay, the next tip. If you've never been to the wedding ceremony before, how comfortable are you shooting at that venue? Have you looked around the venue before? Do you know what the light's going to be like? I highly recommend scouting out every single venue that you're going to shoot at, whether you've been there before or not, because things change. I've had branches of trees fall down, and that's not a place I can shoot anymore. I've had roadworks pop up out of nowhere. That always happens in the summer in Vancouver. If you live in Vancouver, you know what's up. Today, I just spoke to the planner. I'm shooting a wedding at one of the hotels in downtown Vancouver, the Pacific Rim. I noticed that they were doing rehearsal. Can I come to it? I would love to check it out. It's going to happen at 6:30 p.m., which is great because I can now see what sunset's going to be like. But also, I can reconnect with the couple. I get to meet the family. I get to make them feel comfortable. But I can check out the venue, look around, think about my angles. And again, I'm prepared. And when you're prepared, it makes the day so much easier because you're not caught off guard. So if you don't feel comfortable with a location or a venue, definitely go scout it out, but make sure it's close to whenever your wedding is, because there's no point doing it 4 months before when you're in a different season and the light's not going to be the same. Quick tip. There's an app that I always use. It's called Sunseeker, and Sunseeker is epic. It allows you to note the trajectory of the sun on any given day. So if you were at a venue that was far away and you couldn't necessarily go there close to the actual date, you could visit the venue and then you can use the Sunseeker app to note the trajectory of the sun and where it's going to rise and fall on any given day. And that is golden. Okay, let's keep going. I hope you're enjoying these tips. Okay, for the newer photographers, this one's killer. When I first started shooting weddings, I was always the assistant of a second photographer. Before I shot my own weddings, I was always assisting, and I learned so much from doing that. I learned so much that when I was shooting my first wedding, I kind of didn't want to be alone, and I wanted somebody to be there so that I could have that support on a wedding day. So if you're new to wedding photography, and even if you're not new, you're shooting somewhere that feels a bit intimidating and you have it in your budget to have a second photographer, get a second photographer. If you're newer, definitely get one because you're starting out and you want to have that confidence, like build as much confidence as you can at the beginning. Because trust me, when I first started shooting weddings, I wanted to be as good as possible, as quick as possible. And I know if you're watching this video, that's the same for you too. So why not bring someone along and let them have your back on a wedding day? On that note, if your season is just getting started, you may be in a different part of the world, and maybe that's true, but why not assist other photographers? If your season's a bit quieter, why not assist other photographers? Keep learning, keep growing, keep expanding, build up your portfolio, because I know you want to book the kind of weddings that you dream about with your ideal couples in ideal locations all around the world, potentially. When I first started, I wanted to be a destination photographer. It wasn't until I assisted others and I traveled with them and I built that up and then I showed it on my portfolio that other couples were like, wow, he can shoot here and he's also been there. He could definitely shoot my wedding. Speaking of relationships, how comfortable are you with the couple? How well do they know you, your brand, your style? Of course, they booked you and you're about to shoot their wedding day, but any opportunity you get to connect with them and really guide them on their day and make sure that they feel really comfortable with you and your vibe, the better. If you're into film like I am, I'm bringing that to my sessions and with the couple, and I'm doing my best to integrate that more and more into wedding days because couples want it. And that's part of me and my brand and my relationship building with a couple. But maybe there's something unique to you. Maybe you shoot Super 8. Maybe you take Polaroids on the wedding day, whatever that is. Surprise and delight your couples. Try something new. And then on the wedding day, build relationships with other vendors and guests that's how your business is going to grow. Because as good as your photography is, people got to enjoy your presence, right? They want to feel comfortable with you. I've even had an uncle recently refer me to their niece, and I shot her wedding because he was so impressed with my presence and my energy on the day. And that's the type of person and photographer that I want to be. So work to your strengths, build relationships. Okay, last couple of tips. Are you the type of photographer that waits till the morning of the wedding day to pack your bags? If you are, you're doing it all wrong. I learned this from Brian Morrow. He's from the Shark Pig. He said, whenever you come back from a wedding, pack your bag for the next wedding, which is brilliant because sometimes we shove things back into all kinds of places and compartments and then we're figuring it out. Sometimes that does happen. Of course, I'm not perfect. Got to be real. But if you can do that, it's going to change the game. I have a checklist that I go through thoroughly because what I like to do on a wedding day is tick off that I've got my lenses, I've got my batteries, I've got my cards, I've got my flashes, I've got my stands, I've got my coffee, I've got my smoothie, got my water, I've got my beard brush, silly things like that. Trust me, sometimes when my beard gets long and I don't have a beard brush, it's super frustrating, but a little, I feel good, happy days. Okay, and so my final tip for you is keep studying the masters. And when I say masters, I'm not talking about other wedding photographers. I mean street photographers, portrait photographers, landscape, commercial, whatever you're into, keep studying them. Study the greats and learn from them. And it's different. It's not wedding photography. You're looking at someone else who is in a different field. So you don't have that comparisonitis. You just have awe and inspiration and motivation. Study them and take a bit of their mindset. That's one of the most important things. Understand their mindset and how they think. Because if you can bring that mindset into a wedding day, getting goosebumps thinking about it, it's like it will take your work to another level. And these are probably the people that you were looking at before you became a wedding photographer. Am I right? I don't think when you were 10 years old, you were looking at wedding photography, dreaming about, oh, I can't wait to be a wedding photographer. Maybe you were, but I feel like you probably weren't. You were looking at other photographers and you were inspired by that. So keep doing that. All right. If you stuck with me at the end, thank you so much. I've enjoyed making this video. I want to make more as well. And if you have any questions, if you want another resource or did I leave something out, let us know in the comments below. Let's get a conversation going. I love the YouTube community. I love the people that are on here. If you're here, give thanks. Thanks so much for you. I appreciate you. Look forward to making more videos in the future. Let me know what you want to hear, what you want to see, and let's create. Peace.